This is a car that is dying too soon and will be fondly remembered after it's gone. Just like the original NSX, really. This is a 2022 Acura NSX Type-S, and it is the end of the line for the vehicle, at least in this format. The word on the street is that this will be reborn down the road as an EV, which honestly I'm fine with because nobody cared about it as it arrived this way, so it might as well evolve. And what does "as it is this way" mean? Well, it's a hybrid. Out back is a 3.5-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine, and it pairs with 3 electric motors. There's 2 up front, there's 1 in the back. All told, here in the Type S, it is good for 600 horsepower, and I believe about 490 pound-feet of torque, which is a bump over the non-Type S. So how do they do that? Well, they gave the turbos more boost, they swapped out the fuel injectors, and they improved the cooling. On top of that, with the Type S, you've also got a recalibrated chassis. You've got a faster shifting gearbox. You've got a whole lot going on to just improve the car to honestly be kind of what it should have been from the beginning. Additionally, this one is wearing massive optional carbon ceramic brakes. It has optional carbon fiber packages all over the place, and it just feels like a nice, tight, complete package in a wonderful way. And it's a shame that it's here on the last one. On top of that, it is a limited one. All of them are really limited because Acura hasn't sold that many of them. But of the Type S, Acura is just making 350. On the outside, the NSX looks pretty awesome. This is a really cool looking car, and this Indy yellow pearl paint looks excellent as well. You can get this in a gray matte finish, which looks pretty menacing. On top of that, there's a Type S badge on the outside, but it's a sticker. It would have been cooler if it was kind of painted on. I wish it wasn't just a sticker, but the wheels look great. You can see plenty of those big brakes behind them. Then there's carbon fiber bits. The rear diffuser has been reworked to mimic what they do on the GT3 race car. Not as extreme, but it's similar. And then the carbon fiber rear spoiler, the black bits against the yellow bits all look really good. On the inside is one of the places where the car falls apart a little bit. And it's not just a Type S thing. It's just an NSX thing where like the screen feels dated, and you know, that's really it on the inside for me. The seats are comfortable. I'm probably at the limit of who could be comfortable in this car at 6'3", 210 pounds, but Acura makes the best seats in the business, and it's no different here. They're just a little bit tighter than, you know, what you'd find on a TLX or an Integra or something. But the big selling point on the inside, which is kind of an amazing thing for a modern car, is that Acura was able to mimic the thin and amazing sightlines and A-pillars of the original NSX, which is a difficult thing to do in modern cars because of crash test requirements. Pillars are bigger because cars need to be stronger. The way this thing is shaped and designed, you can really see right down into the corner you're turning into. It's an awesome nod to the original car, which was the canopy on that thing was modeled after F-16s, and they nailed the interior of that one. It's the same here. It evokes that notion of that original car, and that's a really cool thing. One of my favorite parts about this car, though, is the dual nature. I like dual-natured car or multi-natured cars. So I'm gonna, since I'm stuck behind a vehicle, I'm gonna go and put it into quiet mode. And if I can get it to kick down, when you're in this mode, you can utilize the most EV-ness of the car. It will kick it down into electric mode as long as there's charge in the battery, and it's easy to build charge back up. I think it's a 1 kilowatt-hour battery pack. So not huge, but enough to get some juice out of this thing and really just kind of cruise along silently. It's still in gas mode. There we go. Now it's in EV mode. I love this. I love creeping along unexpectedly, just kind of enjoying the cruise nature of the car, this dual nature, like I said. But then there's the knob right here in the middle. Click it over once in Sport. Stayed in EV mode right there because it doesn't push it. But if I go Sport Plus, it kicked on. And then the car wakes up. Now there's even a mode beyond that if you hold the dial to the right called track mode, and that takes everything to the extreme. let me just hold it so it pops up. Talking powertrain, the all-wheel drive system, the vehicle stability, the suspension, and the steering, which some of those, the suspension and the steering go there in Sport Plus, but in Track is where it does the traction, the traction, the all-wheel drive, and the powertrain. It elevates them a bit further. And if you hit the button down here, put it into manual shift mode, the car is delightful. The brake feel is excellent. The steering it's really nicely weighted. It's not too heavy. It's nicely tuned. There's great feel in it, and the steering wheel feels really good in your hands too, and the paddles are where I like them. Some people prefer paddles mounted on the column so you always know where it is, no matter where your hands are. I like them because I keep my hands at 9 and 3 the whole time. I like them right there, ready to go. So don't shift in a corner. Well, what if I want to? So I appreciate that setup of the car. Obviously, one of the big complaints people have about these is that they feel like they're priced too expensive, and that worked against the appeal and the sales volume of this car. I mean, there's an argument to be made for that, for sure. I want to see where this element's going so I can go the other way. There you go, buddy. This one, the base price is like 170 something. As tested, this one's like 186, which is a lot of money, and you're competing against some seriously amazing vehicles. And yeah, I think that does work against the NSX. It would work against anything, but it still can get 0 to 60 in 3 flat. Some tests show it just under. It's a great, livable supercar in that, like I said, it's very comfortable. You still can tell getting in and out of it that it is a mid-engined supercar, but the hybrid nature of it, cruising around, is awesome. The sound system is great. The seats are great. Visibility is excellent for what this is. Especially because like the window, the side mirror stalks are far enough out where you can see all around you easily. But then the problem is that you have cars like 911 Turbo S and R8 is going away, but you have certain McLarens and stuff that are otherworldly levels of performance, whereas this isn't otherworldly. It's just really good. It's just not the best. And sometimes people in that category, I want the best. And I get it. I'm not using that as a knock against that person buying this car. It's just a shame that people aren't buying these. And I don't know why. I don't know why they're not. I enjoy driving these every time I drive one of them. I've driven a few of them now. This is the first time experiencing the Type-S. I think it's a special car. I think we're going to miss it when it goes away. But do I get why people aren't buying them? Sure, I do get it. The life cycle plans, the production, the development was too drawn out for people's attention spans. The original plans involved V10s and crazy stuff, and then they switched, midway through to add in electrification because they could see that was where the future was going. And the electrification does help the car. It fills in any torque gaps. It gives you max power. The engine on its own, though, is pretty great. That engine by itself makes 520 horsepower. So I would like to see that twin turbo 3.5 liter V6 in other things, which would be like if they did a TLX Type R, that would be sick. Or some kind of monster MDX, which, they don't really need to do, but we are in an era of fast SUVs. A 520 horsepower MDX that they could charge, $100,000 for. Maybe that's not the worst thing. But overall, the car is very enjoyable. There are dated elements to it, but I feel like I'm making excuses for the poor behavior of a good friend. And then when that friend isn't on their bullshit, they're a wonderful person. So I don't know what else to say here. This is just, and driving to and from the track, you would be comfortable and happy, so that's a great thing as well. Put it into quiet mode when you pull into the pits to save on fuel. And it does have a great tire setup too. You've got 305s out back. You've got meaty boys, big old meaty boys in the rear. There's grip. The nose, does what you want it to do. I don't want to make excuses for a car that hasn't sold well, because I think that people are overlooking it, and you know, I feel like that's a little bit sad on the part of the NSX, because this thing is just an absolute joy to whip down a canyon road. Like I said, I want to push it harder to see what it is really capable of, because I just feel like there's going to be some just truly awesome experiences behind the wheel of this thing. But this is kind of it. It's going away. Sayonara. I wonder if I can convince Acura to let me spend more time with this and take this to a racetrack. So maybe stay tuned for that one, or don't, because it might not happen. But for now, sitting here in the Acura NSX, I'm gonna grab a gear, allow me to disappear. Love that you can hear the turbo whoosh too. You can clearly hear turbo noise in this thing. The engine's right there. This is feels like a really thick piece of glass though to insulate you from it, but there's enough noise that it's enjoyable. Let me see if I can get down a gear to get some noise into the cabin. That's fun. That doesn't get old. Man, this thing is fun. This thing is fun. This is a great car. So, we bid you farewell. We'll see you when we see you. You're not going to sound this good.